Welcome to the Tom Bernard Show. You notice how I said the Tom Bernard Show?
Good job,
Did
honey.
notice that.
No, I won't have the sales department yelling at me. Stop calling it the family. It's the Tom Bernard Show. So welcome to the Tom Bernard Show with
Co-host Catherine Brandt.
Alex Brandt Bernard Rasmussen.
Andy Bernard.
And Kristen Bird.
Look, we got who? Are you guys on the Tom Bernard Show?
Mm-hmm. Or
This one.
podcast, whichever.
Whatever you want to call it.
Podcast, yes, that's true.
Oh, I've got a question for Kristen.
Oh, here we go.
So Gene Hackman's body hasn't been claimed yet?
Yes.
And his wife?
What?
Yeah.
Nice kids.
kinda
Doesn't he have
sad.
children?
He does. And we've talked about, I don't know if you were on some of the days, Catherine, when we talked
Okay.
about it, but he had a real estranged relationship with his kids. Like his oldest son, Christopher, his estranged relationship goes back to the 90s. Like when his parents initially, their marriage broke up because Betsy
yeah.
kind of maybe overlapped with the marriage. So Christopher hasn't been close with his father. And then his two daughters, they said that they were close, but one of the daughters was like, oh, I haven't talked to him in 2 months.
Yeah.
So,
But still,
I mean, if
it's
you're going
hard
to say
here.
close, I'm going to assume you're talking to your parents at least weekly,
Yeah.
if not
that's-
more.
okay,
Yeah.
So what happens when you don't get claimed? You go into a pauper's grave? State
The understanding, the understanding from what I've read in the reports is that it's not unusual in a case like this where there's the estate being fought over right now. There's a lot of things in limbo in terms of the will, and that it may take some time before proper burial is, or whatever they decide to do happens with the bodies.
That is just so tragic.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
really. Somebody I know, she was never a real friend of mine, but she was friends of friends. And she died unexpectedly a little while ago. And she didn't have any children. She did have a sister. She did have a brother. And nobody claimed her
Oh, God.
either because nobody liked each other. I'm like, can't you put your petty differences aside just for a little burial?
Like
Yeah.
when they're dead, like you can't
I know.
like buck up and
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess
feel
it
like I would do that for a
depends.
stranger, you know. I'm like, I don't know you. If you, I'll help you though. I don't know.
I know. I
You
feel like I would
deserve-
do
Yeah, you deserve some respect, even
Well, I
if
think
you're
a big
horrible
part of the
person.
problem is that funerals are very expensive now.
Yeah.
Like upwards of $10,000, I
But
think.
he had plenty of money.
He did,
probably.
but I mean, I don't know. Did his kids?
But his estate should pay for his funeral.
Yeah, and that's the problem is that the case or the wills are currently in probate, and the children are fighting the estate because the problem with all of this is that I know, and it's just the way. Like, of course, Gene Hackman, everything would go to Betsy. Of course, Betsy, everything would go to Gene. But Betsy predeceased Gene, and it created this whole messy
Oh,
issue.
sure.
Yeah. And so it's still some of the timeline issues, some of the investigation that's still going on. They haven't nailed that down. And I think that the bodies could lay unclaimed for several months before they're able to take care of them because of the nature of this case.
Okay, two things. My mother's been dead for 17 years. Nice Catholic boy like me. I still talk to her about once a week. She doesn't ever talk back, but I talk to her, you know. Don't you want to remember your mom, your dad, both, whatever?
I guess if you didn't like him, I don't know.
I guess not.
It depends upon the trauma. I mean, I did not have a traumatic childhood, but some of my friends had terribly traumatic childhoods, and they don't want to speak to their parents because they've worked through all of that emotional trauma in therapy. They don't want to go back there, and I don't blame them.
Well, I have a question. So when you claim a body, it's not like you have to take it home, right?
No.
No, but there, because of the timeline with the investigation, there's just a lot that's still in limbo.
All right.
Catherine and I have a friend who's worth a lot of money. He's a multimillionaire. He has a son who's a billionaire, and his son won't talk to him. It's like, what? Things worked out pretty well for you guys financially.
It's like
I
a
mean,
reverse Cats in the Cradle.
yeah, exactly.
When you're coming home, son, I don't know when.
Never.
So apparently what happens with unclaimed bodies is you have a short amount of time before the county will just cremate it.
Okay.
Oh,
And then they'll hold it, depending on the county, for a certain amount of time, usually a few years, to see if
Few
anyone wants to
years.
claim them. So you can claim the ashes for a while.
And the
And-
county's involved in an investigation right now, so I have a
Right, so
feeling that
they-
they're not going to dispose of it if they
Yeah.
had to
Right.
cremate it.
So they're
Although,
just-
I mean, if they have cremated them, I don't think there's a whole lot of evidence left. So
They did autopsies at this point, so on both
Yeah.
of their bodies.
I think
So
it's pretty much over for the bodies. But and then if you don't claim them during that period, I think they just dump them in like a county cemetery.
ugh, that's just depressing to think
I
about.
would say bleak.
Yep.
I mean, I understand when people don't want to do like the whole ceremony and tombstone and all of
Right,
that,
right,
but you know,
yeah.
someone maybe spreading your ashes somewhere that you liked. But again, the relationship between the kids and the father, he was not around for a lot of their childhood. And I think that that really showed in adulthood and especially at the tail end of his life.
I know, but they're in their they're like in their 60s. For God's
are.
sake, just how about some closure? Some nice closure.
Right.
You can yell at your dad now he's dead. You can say all the things.
I guess they don't
Fair
want
enough.
any closure. You think they're
They're probably
know-
like, it's closed. I'm done. I've had my closure. No, thank you.
I
Yeah, and if you
guess.
think about it, if you wrote him off in the 90s, I mean, maybe you've been done with them for so long. It's just, but they're not done because they are trying to lay claim to the estate. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah,
Oh.
interesting.
I love that.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to deal with him, but the money.
But I
Yeah.
want the
Bring it
money.
on, bring
Yeah,
it on.
I
And
love that.
Yeah.
there's a significant home at least. That it was not a small, that there was 2 homes on the property. It was not just a small little tiny quarter acre of land or anything. It was a nice piece of property.
So, here's a great take on that. My father and I never got along. Never, from the time I was a little boy to he finally died at 60. So I would have been about 28, 29, something like that, Catherine.
Something like that. Yep.
I think I was 29. We never did get along or whatever. The only positive thing he ever did for me or to me was we walked into the hospital room just a couple of days before he died. He looked at Catherine and gave me the thumbs up. So the only positive thing he ever said was about Catherine, not me.
I know he never liked you, but he liked me.
He saw those legs we've been seeing all week. He was like, good job, Tom.
Yeah, he was very proud of me to find this beautiful woman to marry. He thought that was great. But we weren't married yet then.
No, we got along great.
Yeah, you got along really well. There's no question about it. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So what's new, Kristen? Oh, Alex has something.
I have a question for Kristen.
Oh, okay.
You saw the woman in the yard?
I did.
Is it actually scary? Dad, if she says it's good, you are not allowed to watch it until you get back, and you and I are watching it.
Okay.
Okay. Tell us all about it. No? Oh, no.
It's a skip.
Oh.
It's a skip. It's about 90 minutes. It's super fast. I thought that the story was pretty flimsy, and some things I just thought were like just too dark. So it's about a widow who's very depressed. She's lost her husband. In case anyone goes to see it, I won't give too many spoilers, but there's a woman in the yard who looks like she's dressed like all in like looks like a beekeeper's outfit, but all in black actually. And she starts like tormenting this widow and her 2 kids and the dog.
Dog.
Poor
Right.
dog.
Dog.
Yeah. Something happens to the dog early on. And I spent the whole time thinking, I'm like, and I know it's a Hollywood dog. So listen, but my brain just goes to what happened to the dog? Did they kill the dog? Like that's where I'm going because the story wasn't keeping me engaged. But I will say the one theme that was, and it becomes really apparent as you go along, but there is like suicidal ideation in this movie. And I just thought it really needs a trigger warning because to me, as someone who isn't naturally predisposed to depression or anything, I just thought, gosh, this feels like it would give people ideas.
I feel
Yeah.
like if you're that depressed, then you probably shouldn't watch horror movies at all. Because
Maybe.
it's like just the constant death and gloom and
Yeah.
sadness and
Yeah.
bad
One
things.
really
Like,
dives into the depression side, not into the like horror or suspense of it. It
Oh.
dives into a really dark place. And anyone who maybe has gone through grief, you go through a dark time where you're just, you're feeling sad and things like that. But people who have chronic depression, I just felt like, no. And they left it open-ended too, of course, for a sequel. So we'll see how it does at the box office this weekend. Given the way Snow White is tanking, this could wind up at the top of the box office.
And it's going to be the woman in the garage next.
Yeah.
The woman in the garage,
And
the woman in the penthouse.
Woman on the stoop.
The woman in the living room. She's getting closer.
Yeah.
That Snow White thing's a disaster, isn't it?
I mean, they're not expecting it to do well this weekend, so
It
that's
was
not
such a
good
weird
news.
IP to resurrect. I mean, it's been so long that
The original Disney.
even like kids' parents these days, they didn't grow up with it. Even their grandparents didn't grow up with it. It was like
Everybody grew up
1940.
Everybody grew up with Snow White.
I don't know. I'm like, I saw it when I was a kid, but I saw it like one time and I was like 6. And then
If you had a daughter, though, I think you'd probably see more Snow White.
you think?
Yeah.
Even
A lot
today?
of girls go through the Disney princess stage.
They sure
and
do.
At Disney World, the like most popular ride is this Seven Dwarves Mine Train, and that was
True.
turned into that not that long ago. So
I
I mean,
suppose.
I don't know. I'm
Um,
excited to see it. It depends on the weather here. I might take my kids to see it tonight. We'll see. It's either gonna be tonight or Sunday morning. We're gonna go see it.
And to say like Snow White,
Oh yeah, Sage likes. Yeah, he likes the Seven Dwarves and like the whole. Yeah,
yeah,
like Sage will go see anything. Sage,
Yes. He
is-
likes a movie.
he loves the movie. He's like the most easygoing. He just got 6 fillings yesterday, and he just like laid there and was like, yeah, they have
On his baby teeth or?
his baby teeth. He hasn't
Oh,
lost.
okay, good. Yeah.
Both of my kids' teeth are made of jelly, so
Mhm.
oh no.
it's super cool. And
Maybe their adult teeth will be better.
I was saying Fawn's adult teeth are much stronger. Like
Good.
those haven't had any problems yet, so we'll see. But yeah, he was just getting like his mouth was getting drilled, and he was just like, "I'll just lay here. It's fine." Like didn't complain at all. Sage he's like a golden
Chill
retriever.
kid.
Yeah, he's a golden retriever, and Fawn's a house cat.
He's a chill kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kristen, do you think there's any chance if I invited Jasmine Crockett to go see Snow White because it's Snow White, would she even bother to go?
Who's Jasmine Crockett?
You don't know who she is?
The representative.
Oh my God, what a psychopath that woman is.
She's pretty wild.
She's she's a
From
representative
St.
in,
Louis, Missouri.
No.
Oh wait, she was born in St. Louis,
yeah,
Missouri.
Texas. She-
Yes, House of Texas House, District 30.
and the great thing
whatever
about it
that
is, a couple of years ago, I saw her on TV, and she was going like, "Yes, this ought to go pretty well, and we'll see how everything goes." And now when she's on TV, it's like, "Well, get up with the get down."
Yeah, I know.
All of a sudden, she's like Ms. Ghetto. Like,
Mhm.
what is that? I hate that when people do that. All of a sudden, their accent changes.
Yeah, my favorite is when you get like the white news anchor from Idaho.
Yeah.
And he's doing a news story, and he's like, in other news, a new taco restaurant is opening in town. They're sure to serve many burritos.
You mean dad at any place that not
Well,
just like an English speaking?
there's
I'll
that.
have
Uh-oh, Tom's being called out.
Yeah, now I get blasted.
Mhm.
Picadillo.
You are not allowed to talk about this.
What are you talking
You're not
about?
part
I
of
never
the
Oh,
knew
not
this.
just when people do that. He goes into a bakery. I'll have one croissant.
Croissant.
It's pronounced croissant.
I goes into,
Not a
you know,
croissant.
Olive Garden. I'll have the marinara.
Yeah,
Oh my
when's
gosh,
the
my
last
dad
time-
does that too. What is it? Just like
I don't know.
dads?
That's
It's like
because
a
it's how
dad
it's
thing?
pronounced.
Goes through the Taco Bell drive-through. Fajitas, please.
I mean, I'll do it to a certain point,
Oh,
but it's
God.
like, I don't know.
if I
It's a
were,
dad thing then. It is
Listen.
a dad thing. Let's just
I
call
guess.
it what it is.
If
All
I
of a sudden you
were-
become a dad and you're like, my
Same.
bonito.
if I was in France, I would say croissant because
That's what they're
It's
expecting.
pronounced croissant.
But it's
not
like
croissant.
we're in America where no one expects that, so it
Croissant.
sounds weird to them. It's been anglicized.
yeah. So you say croissant.
So it's like, I mean, if you wanted to
Croissant.
pronounce every word the way it was originally pronounced, you'd be going through all sorts of accents for any language because
Yeah.
Yep.
American English especially is just a mishmash of every culture on earth.
Mhm.
Okay,
So-
why
Welcome
don't
to
we do
Los
this?
Angeles.
Why don't we go to a break and we'll be right back in a couple of minutes? You
now
want
are
me
you-
to sound like Dracula?
Dracula? I know. Now you're
Yeah.
A
Dracula.
break in a couple of
I
minutes.
want to sell you Bradshaw and Bryan.
One,
Shut up, Alvin.
two.
How do you say shut up with an accent? That's what I want.
Cayate.
Shut up.
Cayate.
Cayate.
There you go.
Cayate.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Right back, right up to this. More with Kristen Bird. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands-free, but you can't have your phone in your hand for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
There you go. Matter of fact, I've been talking to Bradshaw, Michael Bryant. I've been talking to Bradshaw and Bryant because Michael Bryant is my attorney. And basically, if anybody calls me, I say, call my attorney. Leave me alone.
Like all the kids.
Exactly. Let's talk about my bank, North American Banking Company. Look, it's easy to feel just another account number at a big national bank, but that's not how it works with my friends at North American Banking Company. Whether you're visiting their locations in Roseville, 50th and France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove, you'll always find real people who know you by name and actually care about your finances, not some AI chatbot. They also offer all the modern conveniences you expect online. Mobile banking, but with a personal touch that only a community bank can offer. So why settle for less when you bank with my friends? And again, I've said this before. Bilski, I know you're listening, probably driving around. Mike Bilski is my friend. He's one of my best friends, as a matter of fact, at North American Banking Company. Visit nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Love it. Kristen Bert Entertainment News is brought to you by North American Bank Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Let me say one thing before we move on. When I went to St. Joseph School, there were a lot of immigrants that, went to the school, some from France, some from here, some from there.
I thought you were going to say, I learned how to speak Latin and I never forgot it.
That's true, too. Michael and Rocco, my two friends, you know what their father did? Now, this goes back. This is before your generation. You might not even know what the hell I'm saying when I say this, but I loved it. Their father was an organ grinder.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what an organ grinder even is? Got the little cup, you got the little organ grinding thing, and you got the monkey and the whole deal.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up listening to other people's,
Was his name
patterns.
Giuseppe?
I'm not telling you one thing of what his name was. Don't talk to me ever again. But the Forte family always loved you, always will. That's all I have to say. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So there you have it. French speaking French, Italian speaking it with an Italian accent. That's how I learned how to speak. I didn't just come up with it.
I mean,
no response.
Like I said, I kind of agree, but I don't know. It's like, I know, because I don't speak Japanese by any means, but I've definitely done a lot of research on it.
Yep.
And I know the correct pronunciation of all the Japanese words, but it would be very weird for me to start saying samurai instead of samurai.
Well, I know, but
because you expect samurai.
When I went to the French people's house, I spoke French. The Forte's house, I listened to the Italian
Parlez-vous
accent.
français?
Un petit peu seulement.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Oh, you shut up and leave me alone. That's all I have to say.
I know. It's just been like une fille.
Je m'appelle Christine.
Oh, God. How do you say shut up and all those accents?
Fermez la bouche. Fermez la bouche.
Well, there you go.
There's a Bluey episode. Andy will know what I'm talking
Bluey.
about, where Bandit is pretending to be a chef and he just says random French
That's
words.
I think the first episode. I think he's doing that. Yeah.
Bluey's the #1 show in the world.
But the episode's called Pavlova, and
Pavlova, right.
Yeah, and he says
Yeah.
like "Je suis le chien," which means I am a cat, and he's just pretending to be this waiter, and he
No,
says,
that's a dog. Shan is dog.
"Oh, Shen is dog,
Yen.
is cat." Yeah,
Shut
Sean, Sean Shen.
and like, "Ooh, et la discothèque," and he's
Yeah.
pretending to be a wait person to his kids, and he's just saying random things, and my kids are like, "What did he say? What did he say? What did he say?" the whole time.
You just call him
Well,
Pavlova?
yes.
Pavlova.
Well, he was-
Bonjour, Pavlova.
He wasn't
Yeah.
making any sense anyway.
Yeah, no, and he doesn't like the things that he says don't make any sense. And at the end, Chili, the mom, is like, "He just called you a booger." And my kids think it's hilarious.
You know,
But
just because of you guys now, I'll be pouting all day because I'm thinking back to all my friends at St. Joe. A few of them were murdered. Some of them died very young. Now I'll think about that all day, and it's your fault.
Yeah, that's right.
only
It's our
you
fault.
could take
Mhm.
the fact that we said you say Maranatha to now my friends are dead and all jail.
Well, it's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's true.
This
Yep.
croissant makes me think of murder.
it's a murder croissant.
You guys have any friends that were murdered? No.
You don't have any friends.
I do. I do.
See, you know how that feels then.
It's terrible.
It's horrible.
Because it's shocking too. I think that's the
Yes.
Yes.
you know, it's a weird thing because I think probably everyone might have known someone that has passed away in a car accident. And
Yeah.
even though that is shocking, you go, okay, car
Yeah.
accidents happen. Murder is
Yeah.
so like violent crime is really
Mhm.
something hard to wrap your brain around.
It's
Yes.
terrible. That's all I have to say. No question about it. So, what else is happening?
Well, I think this is an interesting story given that we've talked a lot about late night television shows and
Mhm.
the state of late night. Taylor Tomlinson, who had the show after Stephen Colbert show, after the Late Show, she replaced James Corden. She got a pick. Her show was picked up for season 3 coming up in the fall, and she decided, I'm out. This was her decision. And there is a movement amongst stand-up comics. Like the dream is not to be Johnny Carson anymore. They're making more money off of TikTok, off of doing stand-up on the road, and then getting their Netflix special. That's all they need to do to really stay relevant. And they find that, being a part, especially when they're, younger millennials, Gen Z, that's not their dream to host a late night show because nobody's watching linear TV.
Mhm.
What's so amazing about that is in this job, ever since that has happened, it's really hard to book comedians because they don't need the promotion anymore. They've got their own podcast. They've got all the AI stuff, and they just don't need to promote it anymore. So it's really hard to get comedians now.
Yeah, TikTok honestly has been one of the best things for comedians because they can show
Yes.
short clips.
Yep.
And the ones that do kind of that audience interaction, they do really, really well because those clips usually wind up being very funny in a short little clip on social media. So it's interesting, but then they're doing very well and selling shows. Like a lot of times they're already sold out, so they don't need to do
That's
the
correct.
podcast promotion. My tickets
Yep.
are already sold.
I mean, I have very close friends of people I thought were very close friends of mine that I try to get on the show. And they go, nah. Well, like Nick Swardson will still be on my show. Anytime I ask him, he'll come on. But he and I are very close friends, and that's a whole different deal. And there are more people like that, but there are some, that used to come on the show all the time. I haven't talked to in years because they don't need the promotion anymore.
Yep. They're
Yeah.
doing their own promotion with their
Yep.
podcasts, talking to their fans through social media. It's so fascinating how fast the landscape changed in terms of promotion and media.
Can I ask you one question from a Los Angeles perspective?
Mhm.
I am hearing every day that radio is just about over. They think maybe 1 or 2 more years, and that's about it.
I wonder,
Yeah.
I just was thinking like on the morning radio situation, the moment that Ryan Seacrest steps out,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
maybe Ellen K. Ellen K is a big driver here in Los Angeles too on the Light FM side.
Mhm.
She started with Ryan. I go, once the two of them are out, I don't know where morning radio, like morning drive is in Los Angeles. And
Right.
Ryan's show is syndicated too, still across the US. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
many markets now, but he's still out there.
Yeah, and I hear from a lot of people. Well, again, at KQRS 7 years ago or 8 years ago, whenever it was, we had a 40 share. I mean, it was the highest rated show in America. Now, the last time their ratings came out, they had a 0. And they literally shut it off for how long? A week, Catherine?
I guess that's what the interwebs are
KQ
saying.
was just there. Or are they just playing music with no talking, or what are they doing?
I don't know. Haven't tuned in.
They're doing something with the whole deal, but it's just, boy, it's just kind of a lot. I hate that because I've always loved radio, because even when you were a kid at night, you tune in and listen to, WDGY or KJWB or whatever the big station was at the time. And it was just kind of cool because you would hear your favorite music, hear some Beatles or Rolling Stones or whatever the hell it was.
Right.
And they're not going to hear that anymore on podcasts. You'll hear a little bit of it, but not the whole songs anymore.
Or you go to Spotify and you listen to your music streaming. The other thing I was thinking too, where you have, and I don't know where, I know there was a bill making its way around Congress, making sure that AM was kept on car radios. I don't know where that landed. That was a movement last year. But out here in Los Angeles, we have KFI, which has been one of the biggest talk radio stations in the nation.
Yep.
And John and Ken, and one of them, John Colbelt, Ken Shampoo. One of them retired, and only one of them still doing the show. I'm even curious as to what their ratings look like because they were the number one talk radio show forever.
Yes,
for a long time, like almost 2 decades, and I don't know where they've landed at this point or where KFI stands.
That's unbelievable. Oh, look at who Lammers is popping on now. Look at this hun yuck.
I do have a question about radio. I mean, if there can be a satellite outage, right? They've got ways of blocking signals and all this kind of stuff. What do you do in an emergency nowadays? We don't have telegraphs anymore. Those are long gone.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we need like some old technology don't we?
Well, to be honest,
I will speak from a Los Angeles perspective where we do have weather emergencies quite a bit. We have like a solar powered radio in case the power does go out. So that is usually an option. And during the wildfires, everyone was tuning into local news. It's why I am a big proponent for local news and meteorologists and everything because they were so key and clutch during the January wildfires. But of course, if you can't watch TV, you do have to be able to have access to that. And that's where AM radio really comes into play.
Yeah, so I think that some radio is going to have to exist in some
it always
way.
will.
Yeah.
KFI, by the way, has a 3.8.
Oh, God, a 3.8.
So not great.
No,
that doesn't sound good.
If I can interject, and hello again, Kristen. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I was coming out of Death of a Unicorn yesterday, and I called Tommy just to check in, and he says, "Hey, come on and tell us about this weird-ass movie." So I will be talking about that.
Death of a Unicorn.
But were you talking about this whole idea of getting rid of AM radio or something?
Yeah,
because
of
really
cars.
silly to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of them, I know that there was some type of bill in Congress last year, but I don't even know if it made it to the floor because there was just so much else to worry about, and but
What's
I do think it's such a service.
Really? So I don't understand why it is a problem right now. Why do they need to get rid? What is the justification they're trying to push to get rid of AM radio? I just don't understand it.
It just doesn't make money.
yeah.
And I think for them to when it comes to car manufacturers, they want to push their subscription entertainment services.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're trying to do subscriptions for everything. If anyone's bought a new car recently, even for remote start, it's a subscription on your phone. That's insane.
You were talking about the AM radio for every vehicle act of 2023.
Oh, it's 2 years ago.
It has been introduced and nothing else has happened since.
Okay.
Not gonna happen.
So I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm actually on a couple AM stations right now. I mean, people are. I don't know. It's just been a staple of my life. I can't imagine.
Mine too. Yep.
Yeah.
Mine's 15.
Remember KDWB 630? Was
Oh,
it
yeah.
630?
KWB.
Channel 63. That's how it went. 15 KSTP. I remember those call letters because I was a kind of a growler back then, the young, 19-year-old growler. So I would go 15, and I'd hold the 15 for about a minute, and then go KSTP.
The young cat man.
The young cat man. That's exactly right. Kristen, you got to go again. We are always sad, but we're not going to be on next week because the entire family is going to be together for the first time in many, many months.
How
We're
fun.
looking forward to that. It's going to be great. But we will have there'll be shows posted, right, Andy? Some best of.
Yeah.
There'll be shows posted, but we'll be off the entire week. So, Kristen, we look forward to talking to you in a week.
All right. Have a great week off. Good to see you, Tim.
Thank you,
Good
my
to see
dear.
you, Kristen. See ya.
Kristen Bird
Bye.
Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. We'll take a quick break. Be right back. Timmy Lammers. What's the name of it again?
Death of a unicorn.
Death of a Unicorn.
I saw that when I was looking for Snow White tickets. I was like, what is this?
Okay, we're going to talk about it in minutes. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you you could ease those tensions just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today, 952-925-5608, and set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. And as I told you, I've been talking to Josh about our future quite a bit, and I will be relying on the information from Josh and his help to get where we want to go. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold, investment consultant, LLC security investment advisor. Past performance, no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country, and there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls. As the state's largest city with a metro population over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no limits to what your business can achieve. Sioux Falls, South Dakota was recently ranked the #1 best small city for business and careers by Forbes, the #2 best state business tax climate by the Tax Foundation, and the #5 top state for e-commerce by Nexus. As one of the Midwest's fastest growing cities, Sioux Falls has a robust growing job market. No matter where you're at in your career, we have an opportunity waiting for you. Our city's tax-friendly climate and strong workforce don't go unrecognized. Forbes named Sioux Falls one of the top small cities for business and careers each of the last 15 years. In 2020, Sioux Falls also ranked as the #4 best city for young professionals. How does South Dakota stack up against other states? Well, they rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Now is the perfect time to make your move to Sioux Falls. Visit SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I was just thinking about this. One of the things I'm very, very proud of because the world has become so psychotic and everybody hates everybody else and all the rest of it. I just love the fact that on this show, you have Kristen Bird on, who's pretty damn liberal. There's no question about it. I adore the woman. I would love Kristen Bird. She's wonderful. She's very liberal. And then next comes Timmy. Timmy, you're kind of centrist. You know, pretty centrist guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't follow either party. I think that there's a big problem that is all around us, right?
In 25 minutes, we got Mike Lindell. So we went from way left to center to way right. Why doesn't everybody do that? I'd like to hear.
No, and to have civil conversations, no matter what the persuasion is.
Absolutely.
Honest to God, I can't imagine in my life. I've never in my life. Yeah, I've had Republican friends. I've had Democrat friends, far right, far left. They got their opinion. Just let them say it. You don't have to agree.
I know. No, you're absolutely right about that. Kristen, like I said, and I once in a while you can see her shoulders rise up when I say some stuff. But I adore the She's a wonderful, she's a very, very sweet woman. You want to be far left, far right, you want to be centrist? I'm fine with all of it. I got friends in all the categories, so shut the hell up. This is not a war, for Christ's sake. It's your life.
You know, the amazing thing is, and we've talked about him often in the past, is just really the amazing. Basically, he's still a liberal, Bill Maher.
Yes. Yeah, but
it's amazing how he's maintained, you know, his liberal values, and they don't align with what some people that are also liberal are pushing.
No,
and that's pissing them off.
I know.
And then all of a sudden, the Republicans are saying, "Hey, here's our new buddy, Bill." And Bill's saying, "No, I'm not. I'm nobody's buddy."
That's what I like. I'm nobody's buddy. I'm not going to be locked into one thing. Relax.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a very good point.
So, Alex, you mentioned you saw Death of a Unicorn in the listings. Do not take your children to Death of a Unicorn.
I saw that it was rated R. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, assuming, like, you know, my kids wouldn't want to see a movie about a dying unicorn, even if it were a children's movie. That would be very bad. But then I saw that it's rated R, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, what is happening? I mean, so I called Tommy afterwards, like I was saying, just to check in, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I says, "Oh, I just left this weird-ass movie called Death of a Unicorn." He said, "You got to come on and talk about it." So, you know, I do not like same old, same old. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't when you get something off the wall. For example, Novocaine came out a couple weeks ago, where I thought it was a pretty novel idea about this guy who has this very real but very rare condition where he cannot feel pain. And he uses that to his advantage when he's trying to rescue his girlfriend. But the problem with that movie was they pushed it. They tried to be funny. Here, you know, all the humor, and it's very dark humor. It's batshit crazy. It's completely original. It's this idea of this father and daughter, Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. They're on their way to this retreat at this billionaire CEO's compound. Richard Grant plays a CEO, and they hit this creature on the road, and it's like it's got a horn sticking out of its head. What is it? Well, it's a unicorn. You know, let's just say it's a unicorn. So they try to put the creature out of its misery. Paul Rudd smacks it with a shovel or something, and there's this purple blood because it's a unicorn.
Sure.
Splashes on him. Jenna Ortega, who had issues with acne, all of a sudden it clears up. Paul Rudd, all of a sudden, it's like, what's going on with my glasses? He takes them off. Oh, I can see normal. This unicorn has healing qualities. So once the CEO, the big pharmaceutical guy, discovers these healing qualities because he's quite sick himself, they want to exploit it. However, there is, because it's a baby unicorn, smaller unicorn, that means there's a mama and a daddy unicorn that are plenty pissed that their baby is being held and being exploited. So they come in, and while the baby unicorn has the traditional unicorn horn, these parents have like these big jagged rhino sorts of things. And my God, do they do damage. So it turns from a very dark comedy into a dark horror comedy that goes cosmic at times. And without describing, you know, giving away too much, it's just like some really bizarro, what was this guy smoking sort of questions are asked. You know, it's like this writer-director, I've never heard of him. He's worked on some pictures. The guy that actually produced the picture, his name is Ari Aster. He produced Hereditary. Remember that disturbing movie? So again, one of these guys that goes for it. You get an independent studio like A24, who they're out there and they're proud of it. Let's give people something original. So yeah, it's really original. I don't think it's a great movie, but it's a good movie. I mean, it's. I guess I admire the fact that Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega are in a film where they could choose to do anything they want for bigger probably much bigger paydays.
Mhm.
Stupid romantic comedies or whatever, forgettable stuff, but they don't. They're actually committing to this, and because you commit to it, you get people like Richard E. Grant in there, you get Tia Leone in there, you get a lot of talent involved. So I love the idea maybe more of this movie than the actual movie itself, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense, but
Good idea, bad execution.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wouldn't say bad execution. It's just really bizarre.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that you might enjoy it if you had a gummy or two going in.
I see.
Okay.
Well, speaking
And
of
I don't know if
bizarre-
that's the safest practice when you're going to a movie, especially if you're driving.
Yeah.
The only time I had to tell you what I did, because the COVID shots made me sicker than hell.
Yeah.
The second
Mm.
one that I got, I thought, okay, I'm going to try to get through this by taking not one, but 2 gummies. Actually made me more sick. So that's actually there was one other time that I took a gummy. So yeah, they can mess up your mind a little bit. But yeah, I mean, really, it's bizarre. I'll just say that it's bizarro stuff. But when you see movies every single week of the year, you just want something. You don't want superhero stuff again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You don't want Snow White. Did you see Snow White, Alex?
I'm either tonight or Sunday. I will see it. Yes.
Honest opinion from me,
Okay.
because I think that some people and journalists or whatever are willing this to be a bad movie. I don't think it's a bad movie.
Okay.
Because of all the Rachel Zegler controversy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's different though. I mean, it is not Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I hope your kids don't get too freaked out by the garden gnome dwarfs that are CGI. That to me was the only part of the movie that didn't work.
Yeah.
Rachel Zegler can sing. I like Gal Gadot. Everybody's making fun of her. I like her. So I think you'll like it. I hope.
I will say, if it's a Disney movie, unless it literally was just like absolutely horrible, I will like it.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, there's criticism. Again, this is what bothers me, because this movie is going to lose a gob of money. It made 42.2 in its opening domestically, like 87 worldwide. It cost $270 million to make.
That's insane.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Okay, I was wondering what was the cost difference between doing the CGI dwarves and then hiring actual actors to play.
It would have been a lot cheaper.
Yeah, like I don't
It would have
know
been a
why.
lot cheaper. And Peter Dinklage needs to own this one.
Yeah.
Because he thought, casting 7 actors with dwarfism is stereotypical. Well, these are rare jobs, and perhaps
Yeah.
a remake or a live action remake of one of the most famous movies ever.
Yeah.
It's only going to do them good.
Yeah,
Yep.
think about how many little people would have loved.
Absolutely.
play
And I've seen interviews with a lot of different little
Yeah.
people, and they said the same thing. So yeah, this movie was one hit of bad publicity after the next, and a lot of it came from Rachel Zegler, calling the old one dated and calling the prince a stalker and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're doing your job right, and it's like I need to, well, it's just like reporting. I used to go to city council meetings and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you have your feelings about things, but you have to put those feelings aside and see things for what they are. So for this particular case, it wasn't about politics. It was about, is this a good movie or not? How does this work for kids? How does this work for parents who grew up with this movie and all that sort of stuff? And so I can honestly tell you, it's a 6.5 on the Lammometer sort of movie.
Okay.
Again, the dwarf thing was a disaster. I don't know why they did that.
That's the one thing I'm apprehensive about going into it, is like these CGI.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just
this
so
feels
out of place.
weird in a live action movie.
Well, and there have been very convincing CGI characters like Jim Cameron's, tall Na'vi in Avatar, but they look like they belong. Here it looks like, okay, we're going to cast 7 actors with dwarfism. Process is going. This guy complains. All of a sudden, Disney, we don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
So they shit can that idea. And then it's like, we only have so much time. We got to get to work on these CGI dwarfs right away. In between then, there was this whole idea of 7 magical creatures.
Yeah, I remember that.
And all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so this movie had reshoots, and then they had to jam in CGI and all that sort of stuff. So it's a recipe for disaster. But even with all of that, I mean, I will say that Rachel Zegler is a hell of a singer. I've never denied that. In fact, when this controversy was going on, she did a Hunger Games prequel movie, and she was really good. I mean, again, I have this, I don't know how, but I have this ability to put all that stuff aside, because that's what you really should do. And so I kind of went into it with an open mind. And yes, she can sing. Her acting, it's okay. But again, Gal Gadot, who people, just to be mean, are probably going to nominate her for a Razzie. I actually thought she was really good as the evil queen. So who knows? Maybe because I had such low expectations. So I don't know. Ultimately, movies are there to escape, and people can't be so hung up on how much a movie costs and all that sort of stuff. The people that are going to suffer here, not Rachel Zegler, not Gal Gadot. It's going to be all the people that behind the scenes that worked really hard. When Disney loses their asses, they're the ones that are going to lose their jobs. And that upsets me, so, but again, I work closer to the business than most moviegoers do. So most moviegoers don't care. They just want to be entertained. And I think you'll be entertained with this movie.
Can you guys stick around? I know, Alex, you can be here till 28 after, right? That's about it.
Yeah.
And then Tim, you got a few more minutes?
Oh, sure.
We have a couple questions from the chat for Tim. So.
Oh, good. That'd be great. I'll take a break. But one of the things I got to tell you is we're going to open the break with a North American Banking Company spot. I got a text message that was sent over from 45 minutes ago that says it's from Mike Bilski. 45 minutes ago said, "Time to start the show, pal." We don't start right on time. Bilski goes nuts. I love it. We'll take a break. Be right back. A great segment coming up. Mike Lindell coming up also a little after 11:30. Let's talk about my bank, North American Banking Company. Look, it's easy to feel like just another account at my big national bank, but that's not how it works with my friends at North American Banking Company. Whether you're visiting their locations in Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove, you'll always find real people who you know by name and actually care about your finances, not some AI chatbot. They also offer all modern conveniences you expect, like online banking, mobile banking, but with a personal touch that only a community bank can offer. So why settle for less when you can bank with my friends, and they are my friends at North American Banking Company? Visit nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. It is time for Wellshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities. Wellshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities are a place where your loved one will live with pride and dignity. Very, very important. If you care deeply about someone in your life, Wellshire is the place I highly recommend. Wellshire is a memory care focused facility that has a full nursing team always staffed within the building 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They have never used or relied on any staffing agencies. Wellshire of Medina is now accepting elderly waivers after 12 months of private pay. I know them personally, and they are a family-owned local company conveniently located right in Medina and Bloomington. They're the best staffed memory care facility in the state. Wellshire has a robust community with activities 7 days a week. If your loved one is in need of a memory care facility, please get in touch with my friends at Wellshire. Set up a tour or learn more at wellshiremn.com. That's WEALSHIREMN.com. Today's show brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. We've got Alex with us for another 10 minutes. We got Timmy Lammers for another 10 minutes. I like it. Nana, we can see your legs in the background.
Here I am.
Or we could. Where'd she go?
What?
She's right
I'm
there.
here.
There you are. Okay, good.
I've only got one screen and one keyboard at this point, so everything's a little slow.
Yeah, this week is a little bit different. That's
Yeah.
It all
okay.
works out
Sure
in the end.
is.
So let me ask you a question, Tim. Or it's for everybody, actually.
After I unmute him, of course.
After you unmute him.
There you go. Well, I have
Demute.
I've got 2 questions from the chat, though.
Oh, okay, good.
First off, Tyre wants to know if you have seen the Minecraft movie.
Not yet. That is coming out next Friday.
Oh, okay then.
What I really want to do, and I'm not sure I can convince her, but my youngest daughter is a huge Minecraft fan. And, that's the hardest thing to do, is to adapt a video game into a movie.
Believe me,
or
I
a series.
grew up in the
Sometimes
90s,
it
and I
works.
know.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think,
Yep.
and I'm not a big video game player, but I thought Fallout was phenomenal.
Right.
But there have been others. And I know Joe from Louisville, big Warcraft fan. I thought that was ridiculous, but he liked it. So I don't know. I would, Jack Black is an entertaining guy. Jason Momoa. I mean, they got a good cast.
Yep.
Somebody who I just talked with, got to get the obligatory plug in here, Jennifer Coolidge, for her latest movie, but she's also in The White Lotus. She also has, I think, a voice role in it. So go to Forbes, Google Forbes, Tim Lammers, and you can find a Jennifer Coolidge interview. So, it's got a lot of talent. It's just, you don't want to piss off the fans.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
on that movie on social media and ruin it.
Right.
I think Jack Black was a questionable casting decision because he's going to play Steve, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Steve is like the default Minecraft guy.
Mhm.
And in Minecraft, Steve is clearly not as old as Jack Black is. So it's kind of weird, you'd think they'd pick someone who looks like Steve, but instead they just pick someone who doesn't even look like him even a little bit. And maybe that was a conscious decision, so people aren't just like, oh, well, the real Minecraft Steve says oof like this or whatever. Because gamers can absolutely be like that. If something is just the slightest bit off, they'll get upset about it. So just don't try at all, and then you don't have to worry about nitpicking. But, I mean, how old is Jack Black now?
Guy's got to be close to 50, I would think.
He's 55.
55.
Is he really? Wow.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's a strange decision. But our kids do like him, so I guess there's that too. So... yeah.
Well, he did a voice for Claptrap in the Borderlands movie, which just was a disaster.
Yeah, that did not go well. And that was because of miscasting too.
Yeah,
the whole Borderlands movie was miscast.
Sometimes you just, again, it's just better off leaving it be.
Absolutely.
But that's not Hollywood, man. I mean, they see an opportunity, they're going to seize it, and it all depends. I mean, if they learn their lesson. It'll be interesting to see how far they, I'm sure that Disney has plans for more live action adaptations, but if this one bombs, if Minecraft bombs, it'll be interesting to see if Hollywood puts the brakes on adapting these, because you're talking about them nitpicking when they see the movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have been nitpicking from the day they announced the cast.
Well, absolutely.
Social media is so venomous. And people, like I say, look, remember when Sonic came out and people complained about Sonic's teeth or something?
Yeah,
and they went back and redid the teeth.
It wasn't the teeth; it was the whole face. He looked more like a real hedgehog in the first draft.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know why they did that, because you think Sonic's not a hedgehog. They call him a hedgehog, but he's not. He's Sonic.
Yeah.
So making him look like a hedgehog was just a weird decision. It would be like if you had a Bugs Bunny movie, but it just looks like a quadruped rabbit hopping around.
Yeah.
People are gonna be like, "What the hell is going on?" I know he's a bunny, but still. So you do have to appease the fans. You have to listen to the fans. When you're making this kind of thing. And Sonic movie did that, to their credit, and they've done quite well. They got
very successful. 3 movies, very successful movies. All of them.
And the Mario movie too was clearly made with input from fans.
Oh God, great movie. Great
People,
movie.
God, that did. I think it's the highest grossing video game movie of all time at this point.
Could be.
But I mean, there's a lot of like Tomb Raider is one that people like, but it's not because it's Tomb Raider. It's because it's just like, it's a good movie. Resident Evil, I know not a lot of people liked because it was just weird and had nothing to do with the games. So I don't know. I think being faithful is probably the best option at this point, especially because there are so many people into the fandom.
Is that who I think just popped on the screen there? Is he ready to go? Or are you waiting it
Yes,
out?
he is.
Mike Lindell, we didn't think you were coming on already. You're 5 minutes early. That's
I'm always early, Tom. Come on.
Mike, we're talking about this very quickly. I got to go to one break before we say goodbye to Tim Lammers and Mike Lindell. We're talking about this, Mike, a little earlier. We have Kristen Burt on the show, and Kristen Burt is pretty liberal. Then we had Tim Lammers on the show, who's pretty centrist. And then we have Mike Lindell on the show, who's, pretty far right. When are we going to get back to accepting people for who they are instead of just saying, oh, you don't believe the right things? When is this going to stop with the hatred of politics? I don't get it.
I'm working on it.
Catherine's working on it. She is working on it. That is true.
Well, first of all, I want to say that I am not talking to Mike. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, there you go. Mike, we're just talking about movies for about another 2 minutes. We'll take a quick break after that, and then we want to hear all about your latest ventures and how things are going. And the only reason I like talking to you is because I get to talk to Dawn Curtis. That's the only reason.
Hey, I want to tell you about what you just said there. Right now, I believe the country's getting more united than ever.
I hope you're right.
I was never a politician. I was a crack addict. I run around the streets of Minneapolis, Chicago about 2 months ago. People come up to me and all they're saying is, thanks for, my son, your recovery network helped him, or keep going, help save the country. These are Democrats, Republicans. I think the people in the last 4 years, everybody went through some very bad times, and I think now you're going to get to this party of common sense from both sides or whatever. I really think it's, you call me far right. No, I'm in a party of common sense. I'm open to anything that makes common sense, that helps people, all people, not just one person or party or something that when you make a political decision that doesn't help anyone, there's a hidden agenda. I don't care what party. Remember, Tom, what blocked me most the last four years were Republicans, uniparty Republicans, and I badmouthed them every single day for 4 years.
I love that a lot. Why don't we take a very quick break? Timmy, do you want to stay with us, or you got to go?
I have to run, but nice to see you. Good to see you, Mike.
Yep,
actually just first time, so hello and goodbye. But perhaps another time on this podcast. So
absolutely,
everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah,
all right. We'll take a quick break. Alex, you got to go too.
Yes.
Toodaloo.
Why do you have to go?
I have to go to school.
That's right. She has to go to work.
Mold young minds.
Mold
All right,
minds. Yes.
we will talk to you we'll talk to you on Monday.
Well, you'll see me on Monday.
Yes, you'll see.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because we are not on Monday for those listening.
Well, we're on all next week.
All next week is going to be lost episodes.
All right, Alex, we'll see you Monday.
Okay, bye.
Bye. We'll take a very quick break. Be right back. Mike Lindell, our very special guest. And I love the way you opened it, Mike, because I am sick to death of, they're over here and they're over here.
Yeah, that's rubbish. That's rubbish.
It is. We'll be right back in 2 minutes with Mike Lindell. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Reynolds do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. Mike Lindell and his employees want to personally thank you for your continued support of MyPillow. They have a big allotment of their bed sheets that were earmarked for the box stores this spring. Well, they did it again. The box stores didn't come through, so they're going to pass the savings on to you. Now there's no middleman, so you're going to get wholesale prices on their famous Giza Dream and Percale bed sheets. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99. King size only $79.99. Percale queen size normally $89.98. Your wholesale price is $29.98. King size only $34.98. So go to mypillow.com, use promo code Tom, or call 800-516-5146. Free shipping options available. This allotment won't last long. When they're gone, they're gone. So remember, go to mypillow.com and scroll down to the radio podcast square and use promo code Tom, or call 800-516-5146 to get these amazing wholesale offers. Ladies and gentlemen, today's show brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. Our very, very special guest, Mike Lindell, with us. Mike, like I said, I opened up, Kristen seems to be, she definitely leans left, but she's a sweetheart and cares about everyone. We got, a lot of people on the show that are pretty centrist, and you're talking about that position yourself now. One time you were known as being very, very conservative, and I actually never saw that from you, and I've known you for years and years and years. Mike Lindell, our special guest. Can we ever, right now, I get calls from people on a daily basis saying, when is this anger and hatred going to stop? Well, look what happened to KQRS. The thing's been put on hold for like a week. There's nobody, from what I hear, I'm not in town, but there's nobody on the show right now. What are they, just playing music or something? Is that what they're doing?
What?
Nobody knows
On
what they're doing.
KQ? I think they're not doing anything next week. I think they're like off.
You mean there's going to be no signal even?
That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or
That's
not.
insane.
But I've heard the signal is going to go dark. Maybe they'll play just like, maybe they'll just put on a week-long tape or something, but I don't know.
You know why they're doing that, Mike? Because I was considered to be very, very conservative, which I never was very, very conservative. I just got sick of the one side chirping up so much. They're shutting KQRS down to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not there anymore. So when they come back on the air in a week, they're going way, way far left.
Wow.
Al Franken just tried to do that. It failed miserably. It's not going to work. We need to all come together. When is America going to realize left, right, center, whatever you are, we need to work together. Oh, my God, this is America.
Right. But Tom, I really believe the people are coming together.
I hope so.
It's the media and the deep state globalist uniparty. People say to me all the time going, I went to the Democrat convention. Remember, I shaved my mustache off. You remember that part? But I'm in the heart of Chicago. I can be in the heart of Minneapolis, the heart of California, and people come up to me. The people are not like this. Now, I have so much over the last 4 years, people see through this nonsense. But what the media does, this is one of my family members, okay? She called me up and she says, well, your buddy just did this and it's going to do this, affect this. I go, who told you that? And she said, well, I heard it on the news. I'm going, it's a lie. And so I talk to him all the time. It's a lie. He would never do that. So the press keeps putting out stuff to generate that hatred and to generate the hatred and keep like, oh, these moves he's making. He's a businessman. He's a party of common sense. Tom, what we have here, and people ask me all the time, they go, Mike, the Democrat Party, if anybody listened to me for 4 years, I didn't badmouth the Democrat Party.
No,
I never badmouthed Biden. Badmouthed Biden. You know who I did badmouth? The blockers that were blocking me from securing our elections and getting the paper ballots hand counted.
Yep.
And they were all uniparty Republicans. Brad Rassenberger of Georgia, Robin Voss of Wisconsin, Kim Hammers of Arkansas. I could make a list. And you ask yourself, why would everyone not want secure elections? Do you know Amy Klobuchar, Kamala Harris in the movie Kill Chain, they wanted to go to paper ballots hand counted. The Democrats wanted it, that party wanted it long before the Republicans. They were the biggest blockers known to man. So there's two parties. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'll just tell it like it is. The Democrats didn't steal the election in 2020, everybody. It goes deeper than that. This was the uniparty deep state globalists. You have two parties now. Both parties are gone. Republican Party and the Democrat Party of old are gone. The new Republican Party is this party of common sense, which everyone's pulling into this bucket from everywhere, into this bucket because of the stuff that's happened the last 4 years, the nonsense of men and women's sports and transvestites running around. Give me a break. And open up the border with people coming in to kill our fentanyl, coming in to kill our families. And then you have this party, there's not a Democrat, it's this uniparty. I know this, I've dealt with them. This uniparty, look back to the Bushes, the Clintons, and the Obamas collaborating. You think that was all for the people? It wasn't, everybody. This is the people. This is uniting. I've said it before, and I'll say it on your show, Tom. Everybody loves our president. Some just don't know it yet.
There you go.
But more and more do every day. They did a poll in Alabama. This was just 2 weeks ago. See, and it was Democrats. It was a poll. It didn't get publicized. We wanted to know it was Democrats and Republicans, an equal amount of both. This is in big red Alabama, right? Democrats, and believe me, if you're a Democrat in Alabama, you're a Democrat, right? They did this poll. Get this, everybody. 72% of them, both of them, they were both really high. I think the Republicans were about 80 or 75 and Democrats were about 65, wanted paper ballots, hand count, and secure elections. I don't think anybody has a problem if we really know they're elected. I don't have a problem who wins if they're elected and not selected.
Right.
And that's where we're at. So I think the media always tried to spin me, Tom. Oh, Mike Lindell, he's a Donald Trump, loving Donald Trump, and he's a conspiracy theorist. He wants to overturn the 2020 election and get his buddy in. Let me tell you guys, on election night, in Mar-a-Lago, I went from there up to the convention center at 2:30 in the morning. Donald Trump had already won. I walked in there with my wife, and here stood all the usual suspects. Politico, Washington Post, New York Times, this little snot from ABC, NBC. But I know them all. Tom, they're all friends of mine because remember, after 2021, Fox News and Newsmax, none of them would report about the elections because of lawfare. Now, these guys are all in front of me. I know them all. And they surround me and my wife, and they sent the little snot up. She comes up. She goes, Mike, or Mr. Liddell, she goes, now, your friend Donald Trump won. Was this election stolen? I turned to them and I said, you should be ashamed of yourself. I said, you know me better than that. I don't trust any elections ever done with computers. I said 132 countries have banned computers in their election. And I said, you guys, but I do want to thank each and every one of you for attacking me every day for 4 years straight. So I was able to sound the alarm, get the word out about our elections, and help get this great man elected. And they all went, no, we didn't. But this is where we're at. The media, they own the media. But you're seeing a turn, Tom, even in the media. These things that are coming out that are so common sense. You mentioned KQRS. You go back to January 7th and 8th of 2021. Two of the most important days in history, and here's why. We grew up and 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed that day. They wiped Parler off the face of the earth. If you talked about Jesus Christ or the vaccine or the election, you were deplatformed. Everyone else, because of January 6th, was afraid to talk. Now, when we grew up as kids, the black and white TVs, we would turn them off and you go down to this little tiny dot and we turn it back on and it come back to life. That dot was our voice. If that voice would have went out then, we lose our country and the world forever. I'm serious. Now what we have now, what's happened in the last 4 years, everybody, is everybody's got podcasts. There's Truth Social, Getter, Gab, Vocal Social, Elon's X instead of Jack Dorsey's Twitter. Even Suckabuck's trying to change his spots, right? On Facebook. So here you got, we have our voice has expanded. You don't get your nonsense news from Fox News or CNN anymore. They're, everybody's getting their news. So just the other day, Tom, when the president announced the executive order to get for our election platforms that you have to have an ID to vote. What a concept. You have to be a citizen, right? That's pretty, everybody should be for that. So he announces this. I said to myself, I guarantee Fox News does not air that. And they did. You know why they aired it? They had to talk about it because people are getting the word anyway. And if they want, people would go, why aren't you talking about it, Fox? You see what I mean? So this time around, the brainwashing will not go on. So this is your hope. People are getting their information from like your podcast, from podcast. I don't care what side you're on. I go on the left-wing podcasters. You've seen me and Jimmy Kimmel inside of a claw machine. I don't care. I go out there because I want to get the word out for all people. And this is, I'm telling you, this is the time our country and the people are going to be united more than ever. They can sit there and lie to us and tell us we're divided and racist and all that. That all started with Obama. Oh, yeah, we're all racist and whatever. That's a bunch of garbage, we're not. And, I spent so much time in Chicago at that Democrat convention, and I'm on the streets. The protesters were taking pictures with me. Come on, hey, Mike, come on over here. And they're, it was wild. But it's what I expected. Sure, I was attacked by the media when I got inside the Democrat convention. They came after me, but I didn't care. The people in there they say they're people. These are hardcore Democrats coming up because they knew I stand for secure elections. Tom, and I will say this: if Donald Trump, if they would have stole the election, or let's say he would have legitimately lost, if it meant that had to happen to get to paper ballots hand counted, I would take that over anything in this world. That's what I'm fighting for. Instead, I get attacked now worse than ever in the last 3 months since the election. I want to ask everybody, why would they still be attacking Mike Lindell if Donald Trump's already in power? I'll tell you why, because they know I'm wanting to get to paper ballots hand counted. Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, evil, serves papers on me for my Lindell Recovery Network 2 weeks ago. Box stores canceling orders again. I mean, everybody, you think an employee-owned company, why are they doing that? Because they want me to shut up. And it hasn't worked in 4 years. Do they think I'm going to stop? I borrowed millions. I've lost hundreds of millions. All my money's gone. I'll borrow until we secure our elections, because otherwise we don't have anything anyway.
Mike, it's just great to have you on. Like I said, I wish people would understand. They thought, oh, this guy's far left, this guy's far right, this guy's centrist, this guy, blah, 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 blah. It's all BS. We just want to live as Americans. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
That's where all we're asking. Catherine, I want your take on this.
Yes, dear.
No. So what do you think about what Mike's saying?
I agree. I mean, I think that we've got a big problem in both the Republican and the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
Congress worked 10 days this year? This month?
This year, we're not far away.
Sorry, Freudian slip. Yeah. They barely work. They don't do anything. All they do is, stir up problems. I don't understand what is happening. I really don't. Tesla takedown and all this stuff. It's like somebody's driving around in their car, minding their own business, and these people are. Somebody apparently ran over a kid because he was filming himself raging against a conservative.
Yep.
It's gotten to the point. I think we've reached critical mass already.
I hope so.
I think things have to start coming together, or
if they, I'm just telling you though. If you're seeing these anomalies out there, if they would show what's really going on in the public, I'm telling you, I could go downtown Minneapolis right now. I've done it before. I don't have a bodyguard. I go down there and I go in with the people. The people out there, they're showing far left or right as far as you can see. But who's showing it? The media is showing it.
Correct.
Trying to say this is the norm. This is the norm, right? This is what's going on. This has become. You ask any of them, hey, would you not want voter ID for? I mean, give me a break. If these common sense things, put back into place, and why are the media, which is owned by these deep state, they're putting this out there? I mean, I'm probably the best example that the media didn't know what to do with me, because Tom, if you remember back in 2016, when I had never voted in my life, you guys, the biggest crack addict, run around Minneapolis, blah, blah, blah. And so here I get the opportunity to meet Donald Trump. I meet him. I'm going, wow, this guy, I've never met a president or a guy I never watched The Apprentice. I go, why do I want to meet Donald Trump? He invites me out there. I meet him on August 15, 2016. I was the media's darling, everybody. I could walk across the street. Mike, how many addicts are you hiring today? How many veterans? Well, you just gave, $10 million to the hurricane victims or whatever it was. I get back from meeting Donald Trump and going, wow, I talked to his employees. Great man, great leader. I'm going, you know what? Nobody got to do due diligence like I did there. I'm going, I don't know what president should be like, but this guy seems a lot of common sense. He never asked me for money or anything. He invited me there to find out, how it is manufacturing, how is this right now in the USA? And then they told me, now, whatever you do, you're not going to meet him alone. And whatever you do, don't tell him you were a crack addict. Well, I get in there and it was alone. The first thing I said, I used to be a crack addict, and he looks at me, goes, and I said, I'm going to set up the Lindell Recovery Network. He goes, I'm going to shut that border and stop those drugs pouring across. Two businessmen talking, and he's actually asking my opinion. I thought that's pretty cool. So I got back to Minnesota. I remember I was the media's darling. I went to put a press release out. My boards tell me, they got a couple of liberals on the board. They go, Mike, I didn't know what a liberal was then. I didn't know a liberal from a conservative. I didn't know a filibuster from a millibuster, nor did I care. I just met this man. They go, Mike, if you do this, we're going to lose half our business. I go, what are you talking about? So I said, hey, I met Donald Trump. Press release goes out. Didn't even say what we talked about. The media, Star and Tribune, hammered me. This guy was the biggest drug dealer in Minneapolis. You know what? My drug dealers stuck up for me. They had to do a retraction. He never dealt the drug in his life. He tried to do them all to rid Minneapolis of all their drugs.
Yeah, there you go.
And the attacks never stopped. The Better Business Bureau, based here in Minnesota, they attacked me. They took my pillow from an A+ to an F. Why? Because I met a guy. Because behind the scenes, they control the media, and they did not want. First of all, they didn't know what could you do with me. I've already told everything. So they kind of, what are we going to do with Mike Lindell? He already said he was a crack addict, Well, they had a tough time, but so what do? They try and destroy my pillow and destroy everything I have. So I shut up. And that's the bottom line. Because Donald Trump was a threat to the establishment, the uniparty, the deep state. This is stuff I know now that I didn't know back then. What do you fear? I mean, this guy, he has a book. Let me tell you. He has a book that says, of all his famous letters he has, and him and I were sitting in his office one. I've got a copy of it. He goes, I said, wow. I said, this is amazing. You had Oprah and all these other people in there. And they go, how many people in there turned out? He goes, 29. 29 people the day he ran turned on. These were friends of his just for running. I mean, you can't even imagine that. And because why? Because it was a threat to something much bigger than what we talk about, the two parties. But they had all the media, and that media can brainwash or do whatever you want. The only reason they had a hard time with me is because I had already been on TV 3 million times with my pillow, and I am who I am. As you know, Tom, I don't change on my commercials.
No, you do not.
So they couldn't convince the people that I was bad. Same way with Donald Trump. They had seen him, and they're going, okay, what did he change? No, the media changed. The opinion of him changed by the media. So now I'm saying the advantage we have now is the media is 80%, not the big CNN and Foxes of the world and the Washington Post. So I really think we got a lot of hope.
Well, they did the same. I mean, they're trying to do the same thing to Elon Musk, aren't they? They're trying to take him down.
Exactly. And there's a perfect example. When when they turned on him? Let me tell you when they turned on him. It was a year ago in June, and I was celebrating that day. We got all the data I have to Elon. He came out with a tweet, or an X or whatever you call it, last June, and it said, he's one of the smartest men in the world, said his X or his tweet said, we cannot use, or you say computers are not meant to be used in elections. And then a month later, he said it again. We cannot use computers in elections. We've got to have paper ballots and count. And I'm going, yes. I go, the world will listen to him because he was actually a Democrat. And instead, they didn't listen. The media attacked him. And so there you go. That's a perfect example. And if you see Tesla, they went all in and attacked him, paid people going after doing all this stuff, paid people on the ground and made a big deal. His stock went down. Where did it go? Right back up again once they couldn't keep it in the media that long because people are going, the real people are going, wait a minute, this don't make sense, So it's like, he has, but he's another one that's seen the light. I mean, he's seen like the stuff that's going on in politics didn't make sense to Elon over 4 years. Going, wait a minute, I tried to get to him. I've still never met the man. I tried to get to him for these 4 years, going show him what I had, but but he finally seen the nonsense that don't make sense, and there's no way. I don't care if you're a liberal, conservative. There were so many things done that doesn't help either one. And that's scary when you have that go on. We all want happy, good lives while we're here.
Absolutely.
And families and for them to attack that, it doesn't even make sense. When things, I always say to people, hey, look at your party or look at who you are. Who does this help? A thing like, who does this help? And if you can't answer that, it's a very hidden agenda and it's a very evil agenda. So for me, I found it all the time because I'm going to these red states like Alabama and South Dakota and all these places and going, hey, you guys, we have problems in our election. And they're going, Mike, you get out of here. We're not going to look at anything. We're blocking you. Well, that's weird. You're a Republican and you don't want to check into your own election. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had more progress in California, right in the heart of the Democrats. They helped more than the Republicans there.
That's
it was
wonderful.
Crazy.
You're talking about. I love the fact you're talking about that because that's where we are. Yeah. It's just not too far left, not too far right. Just calm down, everybody.
Yeah, right.
Look, let me put it this way. First of all, I wish you had more energy when you come on the show. That'd be really great.
I got a new energy drink coming out, Rev 7.
There you go.
I think
no caffeine, no sugar. And
I think Dawn's going to send me some. But look, I will never forget the fact. Grew up very, very poor in North Minneapolis. Poor kid. Father wasn't around. My mother working, 20 hours a day or whatever it was. And that kid grew up and got to sit and have lunch with and shake the hand of the president of the United States. And that was because of you. And I will never forget. A little poor kid ends up having lunch with the president of the United States. And you did that for me, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah, and you sure made people mad when you showed the photo of you two together. People's heads exploded.
How about me? When I walked into the White House for the first time in 2017, I walk in there, I go, how did I get in here with my record? I go, it was like surreal. I'm walking around. I get to a table with all these manufacturers. There's like 12 of them, and there's an empty seat here. And I go, who's sitting here? He goes, the president. I'm going, and I'm sitting there. It goes live to the nation, just me and the president, and all my friends at home here. A lot of them still on crack go, wait a minute, what is this crack addict doing sitting next to the president? Jesus is real because this would be impossible without that. Absolutely impossible. It was a divine appointment, and that's where I think people know. For me, for 4 years, and even now to be getting attacked, they really woke up people on both sides. I want secure elections. I'm okay with who we all elect. But you better have secure elections.
I agree.
And they, even Jimmy Kimmel, you guys, when I was on Jimmy Kimmel and in the claw machine, actually both times, I'll get done with the claw machine. Here's what it was. The first line, if you ever at home haven't watched it, make sure you watch it. It's 20-some minutes long, but Kendra and I get there and we're in the green room again. And he put his monologue. He did everything I wanted to say, bashing me, so I could just be myself in this claw machine. I always worry about that I wouldn't say enough. So here I am sitting in the claw machine, and the lights come on, whatever. And Jimmy goes, hey, Mike, you know, you have a fear of machines or whatever, you have a problem with machines. What do you say with that? You're inside of a claw machine. And I said, Jimmy, remember when we were growing up and these carnivals with these games, we all said that we thought they were rigged, and we said they were rigged. And he goes, yeah. And I go, but we didn't get sued, did we? And so people can't, you know, I can't unknow what I know and unsee what I see. And I'll tell you, you know, people are genuinely good people, and with the media, we're going to beat them with the media. I often said the bad media, I call it the fake news. I said they will come around before Fox News, and I really believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
I really believe that they're going to go, hey, this makes common sense. You know how many of the journalists, or even like the FBI, when they took my phone at that Hardee's in Minnesota here, you know, here they surround me at a Hardee's. They still have my phone, by the way, everybody. One in front of me, one beside me, and one behind me. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I told my buddy we're coming back on a hunting trip, all the guns in the back seat, out of case, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hold on, Tom. I said, there's something bad's going down. And I reached out the door and I said, who are you and what do you want? He says, FBI. And I said, I don't believe you. Show me a badge. He shows me. I said, how about you? He shows me a badge. I said, two. I use power in numbers, 2 badges. Bad guys wouldn't carry 2, right? No markings on the car. And anyway, I chew him out for over 2 hours in that parking lot. I'll never forget it. And I said, you know what, you guys? I said, you guys have what, you know what you're doing? You have your moral compass is gone. The guy goes, well, we're just doing our job. I go, where do you draw the line? You guys this is wrong. I said, you could have came to my house. I said, you're ripping people out of their doors in Colorado, all this stuff. Anyway, the point I'm making is what could have happened there. I believe it was a setup. If it would have happened at night, I can tell you, I would have bashed between the 2 cars and headed to find a sheriff in a high-speed chase.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, we talk about whatever it is when someone bangs on your door at night or whatever, where it's a setup. That's what it was, and I think it was that, because why would they do that? They can reach me, Tom. Anybody can reach me. Everyone's got my phone number. I mean, here, you call me up. Here, I'll give you a copy. You can have the thing. I don't care as long as I make a copy. And if that would have happened tonight, it would have been very scary, everybody, because here's the shootout with the My Pillow guy that's blowing him to pieces, and he had guns in the back seat. You know, I mean, it was very, I thought about it afterwards going, wait a minute, this could, you know, because I know me, I wouldn't have sat around for 3 unmarked things to surround me in a Hardee's. I was the number one target in this country for a long time over the last 4 years.
I have a quick question and see if you agree with me. I think the reason why we can't get these politicians to stop being lying, cheating, greedy pigs is because of these NGOs. I think they're giving their friends and their families huge salaries, and they're hiding behind government money. And I think that's why we can't get anything done.
And that's probably a big part of it. That's why they're all afraid of Donald Trump, because he's going to reach into everywhere. Like he said, I've been there. I've seen all this corruption with my own eyes, and you know, and he's not going to stop. I'll tell you what. You know, and this is for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat, what he's digging into. You know what I mean? It's not just Democrats. He's going to dig into where are the problems, and let's get, you know, you talk about Elon Musk. What is wrong with finding stuff where we're wasting money? Give me a break.
I know.
That's bizarre. I mean, I got a ticker on Lindell TV. On Lindell TV right now on my platform, there's a ticker up there, how much he's already uncovered and saved per person in the whole country. It's up to like $2,400 per person in this country. I mean, all the way, that's the whole population of the country. That's incredible. You know, you keep opening a door going, why are we spending money on seeing if someone in South Africa is testing frogs to see if they can jump across the pond? I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, I know.
It's unbelievable. And I can't, there is no one that should be against that. And they are. The people that are, we should, you know, call them out. Why are you against that? Just like I said, we should have called these Republicans that are against securing our elections, because they're way more than the Democrats. It doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. Well, Mike, you got to come back on more often again. It was great just to have you back on and Dawn really, really helped with all that whole situation. I think your business will be booming again once people do realize you're not taking a side in this. You just want the old America back.
Absolutely. And they should see that now. Do you know, Jimmy Kimmel asked me, Tom, on my first appearance there, and everyone said, don't go on, Mike. It was March of 21. And he got me on there and he said, Mike, if your friend Donald Trump had been selected, like you say Biden was, would you still be sounding the alarm about the elections? I said, absolutely, I would.
Yep.
And you know what? Washington Post came here and they went around the county here where I live in my old bars and they questioned people. When's Mike Lindell going to quit? When's Mike Lindell going to quit? My buddy Paul calls me up. He goes, I told the Washington Post you're never going to quit. They're going to have to kill you.
I hope not.
And here's the thing, you guys, Donald Trump won the election. I'm sounding the alarm more than I ever had. So, what I told Jimmy back then was the truth. This has nothing to do with who wins or loses. It's our election platforms. That's it.
Right. Mike, come back soon, man. It's great
Before
to
you
see
go, quick, Officer Dave in the chat wants you to know that he loved your cameo in Unplanned.
Oh, thanks. And that was that movie came out at the perfect time. And can I tell a little bit about that, Tom, the Unplanned?
Sure, you can do whatever you want.
You guys, I'm on that. And the cameo this was with Planned Parenthood. And I get there back from Israel because they needed money and I put all the money and I could just put it. And I said to make sure this movie would come to fruition. So we're filming. There's 300 extras and they're going to have me ride this bulldozer. And all the producers said they're all worried. They go, "Well, do you know how to ride this?" And the guy that owned the bulldozer was there and I said, "Yeah, I used to work on a farm with my grandpa and stuff. I can ride. I'm sure I can drive this, right?" So the guy goes, "No, he's going to train me how to use it, but." They kept going and wasting time. And this is a big, huge Planned Parenthood, cement to the ground. And you're going to have 3 takes at it. But now I know we're only going to get 1 take, right? And I haven't trained on the bulldozer. So all of a sudden I look, they get me all set up in this outfit. And I look over and the guy's dressed just like me and he don't have a mustache. They bring in a stunt double. I go, whoa, wait a minute. I go, I'm driving that thing. Oh, they won't see him through the glass. I said, I don't care. I will know to the public that it was a big lie that I was in this. And I said, I'm driving that bulldozer. And remember, I paid for a lot of the movie. And they go, well, okay. Then they brought up, well, what about, OSHA? I go, OSHA, schmosha. You were going to have me drive before. And so they get me in the crane, you guys know. I remember I had very little training because they said, here, just do this. So here it is. They go, okay, on the set, roll them. And boom, and it's not doing anything. I forgot to take the emergency brake off. Boom, boom, I turn it down, and the guy's going the emergency brake. Now the producers come running. They go, "What are you doing?" I go, you know what? Let's do it the way I just thought making it louder would be good effect. I go, we'll do it the way we practice. I'm going. So they back off, and they're all weird, like, what the heck just happened? So then I quick did it. Well, it felt perfect. So when you see me yelling at that movie going, yes, I'm yelling because I pulled it off. That wasn't acting. That was real.
It is wonderful to have you back on here. It's been a while. It's been way, way too long, but I just love the fact that you and I have the same. Well, I think most of Americans have the same view. You want to be a Democrat. You want to be a Republican. You want to be conservative. You want to be far left. That's your business. We've lived different lives. We didn't all grow up the same. We're not educated the same. Would everybody just relax? We'll try to get along. That would be wonderful. Mike, come back very, very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, you all. God bless you all. Everybody keep the faith. It's gonna be amazing. God uses all things for good, even the bad. And we're gonna get to this great place where we're all united. It's gonna be beautiful. So
all right,
we're in the greatest time to be alive right now.
Say hello to Donald for me because I know you'll be talking to him soon.
I absolutely will. All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Mike Lindell, ladies and gentlemen. I love that guy. He's always been just straight ahead.
Do you think he sleeps?
I don't know how he sleeps.
For real.
But we'll close with this again, ladies and gentlemen. This show had a very far left person on it, a centrist on it, a very far right person, although he's not anywhere near as far right as he used to be. I would like the days to come back, and maybe if they ever did exist, where everybody just gets along. We didn't all grow up the same. We didn't live the same lives. Some people had money. Other people were poor as hell. Education, the whole deal. Stop judging people on a constant basis. You're always judging someone. It's getting really old, and shut the hell up. And why don't we all enjoy life? We only got, 80, 90, maybe 100 years. And then you're going to go away. Why do you want to be miserable?
Just wait till everybody's a brain in a jar. I don't know what's going to happen then.
Yes. But once again, God bless Kristen Burt, who's, far left. God bless, what's his name? Timmy Lammers again? I forgot. Pretty centrist guy. And Mike Lindell. I loved this show because we had all kinds of people, men, women, this, that, the other thing. Calm down. Relax. If somebody, and by the way, tip of the cap to Bill Maher, and maybe I will try to reach out and see if Bill Maher will come on, because I like the fact, yes, he is a liberal, but he understands and wants to learn things. Why don't I find out what's really going on? So Bill Maher, God bless you. And we'll talk to you guys. We're not going to be on next week because the entire family's getting together, and I cannot wait till all of us are in the same room talking again. But we will talk to you.
We'll be back on the
7th of April.
Yep. And don't forget, the new apps are all out. Get those apps updated because the old apps are going to be going away sooner than you think. And also the new website, I hope, is going to be up by the time we get back.
Wonderful. We will talk to you in a week.
Bye.
Bye.
Every time I hear the same, reminds me how you talking.